Hi, thanks for joining me today. The topic is encountering angels in physical form. First, a special hello to my listeners in Raleigh, North Carolina. I'm so honored that you're listening week after week, and so many of you are tuning in, even in the midst of the crazy weather that's been going on. So, thank you so much for your support, and you certainly have mine. This is a topic that was requested, and I have touched on it a little bit, but it's been years since I have. So, let's just say angels are always near you. They're sending wise guidance, offering healing energy, protecting you or fighting your battles. Sometimes they're simply being present with you through life's ups and downs so that you know you're not alone. Later in this episode, I'll be sharing some more real life encounters people have had with seeing angels in physical form, and this time specifically meaning angels who took a human form. As I explain in my book, Let Your Angels Lead, we know angels are near because we sense their presence. We see them in many forms. We hear their voices in our thoughts. We dream about them. We receive signs and synchronicity from them and see images that they place in our mind's eye. We are gifted with angelic insight into complex situations where there's no logical basis for our understanding. At times, people even get proof that angels are near in one of the most powerful ways of all, and that is when angels appear before them in physical form. Why don't angels always appear in physical form? My angels tell me that if they did, it would be too overwhelming and distracting for most humans. Angels are part of another dimension called the celestial realm. They simply do not match the dense physical matter of Earth and its inhabitants. And there are so many angels surrounding and watching over us humans that they wouldn't all be able to fit here amongst us in physical form. We think the world's crowded now. Imagine every single person has a multitude team of angels and guides. So, yeah, it would get crowded real fast. So, the short answer to this is the veil between the dimensions of the celestial realm and earth exists for a reason. Angels will appear in physical form if they need to interact with you in a practical way to accomplish a clear objective, such as pulling your car out of a ditch when you're stuck on an isolated road. That happened to me. Walking when you're alone and in danger, or paying your grocery bill when you're in line and discover that you're short on money. Most often, this physical form will appear to be human. Angels will also appear in physical form if they feel that being seen by you will increase your faith or peace of mind. In times such as these, they will sometimes have wings. There are many ways an angel can appear in physical form. If you think you've seen an angel, the list I'm about to share with you should help you clarify and better understand your experience. If you've never encountered an angel in physical form, listen to this list carefully. You may have seen an angel and just don't realize it. Most people see an angel in physical form very rarely, if ever. Some will go their whole lives having great faith and yet never see an angel, mostly because they don't know there's practical things you can do to make it happen, make it more likely it'll happen, make it happen sooner. My spiritual mission is to help as many people as possible who want to see angels develop that ability, along with that of hearing them and feeling the angel's presence. Remember, angels are non denominational beings who love and cherish each human equally. An angel's love for you is unconditional and absolute. You can never do anything to change it. They see everything you do as a lesson and you're learning, and that's true. Whether you see an angel or not, angels are always with you. So here we go. In the celestial realm, angels are beings of light. I know you've heard me talk about this before. It's no wonder that they so often appear to humans in physical form as light. Light can be seen, but is still abstract in this dimension. It's an ethereal form of energy that matches the angel's vibration, as opposed to more dense forms of matter like rocks, pencils, or humans. Common ways that angels will appear to humans as a light source include a bright pinpoint of light first seen in your peripheral vision. Usually it's white, gold, silver, or blue. Bursts of small colored lights across your field of vision. Glowing orbs, and they can be from the diameter of about a quarter to the size of a basketball. I've even seen them larger than that occasionally. A constant stream of very bright white light, which, like the sun, is difficult to look into. Angels could also appear as small bursts of colored light at any time, such as when you're sitting at your desk or making dinner. But a word of caution, if you do see this continually, get an eye exam to rule out any issues with your vision. I think I told you about the phase I went through, and it was a long one where every night I'd turn off the light, I'd call in the angels, and I'd see a giant golden halo around my, like, it was over my entire bed, wall to wall. And I was worried something was wrong with my eyes. So I went and got a couple of eye exams to rule it out. And eventually it stopped. It was just a way of seeing angels come in for a while. It was interesting. Glowing orbs and streams of bright light are a touch more dramatic and noticeable. They usually happen when you are alone and you can give the experience your undivided attention. This is a good reason to ensure that you have some quiet, distraction-free time if you want to see your angels. So I want to tell you about some other ways that angels might appear. Did you ever feel like you saw something out of the corner of your eye, then you turned around and looked at that spot only to see nothing? You may have actually gotten a glimpse of an angel. Have you ever seen a cloud that looked just like an angel when you were feeling down and needed a reminder of how much your angels love you? I've seen a lot because my grandmother, the only thing she had to read in her house when I spent summers with her was Guidepost magazine. And they had a feature every month of pictures of angel clouds. I spent a lot of time in my youth looking for angel clouds, and there's a lot that are very distinctly shaped like angels. It could have been an angel, a group of angels forming their energy into a giant cloud in the sky to give people below a reminder of angelic presence in their lives. Angels can also appear as what looks like mist. It's a white, gossamer substance that may take on the loose outline of a figure. You might perhaps see it near your bed when you wake up from a dream. You might catch a glimpse of it. But I want to talk about briefly as angels as winged beings, because I get a lot of questions about this. When people think of angels, they usually think of them as winged beings, wings that are big and wide, made up of feathers. It's the stereotypical or traditional angel image, two enormous wings wearing a long white robe and sometimes a golden belt. It's important to note that I've spoken with hundreds, if not thousands, of people from all around the world who have seen angels of this description. That's precisely how they appeared to me, always until I was a young teen. And then very suddenly, they so rarely come through as winged beings anymore. The imagery of the winged angel does not come from myth, but from experience. Sometimes angels really do appear to humans in this manner. It is the most disarming way an angel can appear to humans. Some of the people I've spoken with report feeling afraid at first, but that was only because it was a completely new experience to them. It's very human to be scared of the unknown. Once they realized that it was an angel, then they felt nothing but peace and love. I saw an angel again with wings and a flowing robe for the first time when I was less than 2 years old. It's one of my most precious memories because she came to me when I was lost and scared. Doesn't take much to get lost at that age. She radiated such love that even as a toddler, I knew she would not hurt me. I went right to her and she led me home, holding my hand. While angels would never harm one hair on our heads, it's still very unsettling to be suddenly confronted with a winged being of great power and strength from another dimension. Why do angels take this form? Is this what angels really look like? My angels tell me they sometimes take this form because angels know that this form is familiar to humans. So it's an easy way for angels to identify themselves without a shadow of a doubt. Likewise, this physical form is close to what a human looks like, but different enough that it registers as an angel to us. But let's talk about angels appearing as humans because that's what the request was. So I really want to focus on that for you. It's more common for angels to appear in physical form as humans than wearing wings. Often an angel will appear as a human because they want to offer assistance. They appear as a good Samaritan who changes your tire, a fellow shopper who helps you pick the perfect outfit for a first date. The best way for angels to work in public unnoticed is in human form. Maybe an angel appeared to you as another patient in a hospital waiting room, a stranger who spoke kind words, or gave you a hand to hold while you waited for news on a loved one's condition or some test results of your own. Maybe an angel appeared as a stranger walking along the road by your property just as something caught on fire. And with this stranger's help, you were able to get that fire under control before it spread to a structure. You're going to think, my gosh, this woman gets lost a lot. Well, I was a little adventurer. When I was 5 years old, my family was camping in the mountains back east, and I got permission to take a walk by myself as long as I didn't cross the road. Even then, I was quite literal. I followed directions and I did not cross the road, but that actually took me miles down the mountain, and it was getting dark and it was raining. I was tired, scared, soaked to the skin from rain, and I remember feeling such despair. And then the only vehicle that came by that entire time was a station wagon that pulled up next to me, and a man rolled down the window and the passenger window, and he asked if I was lost, and I said yes. And he offered to take me to find my family, and I knew I wasn't supposed to get in a car with a stranger, and I did pause, but I knew I was safe. He opened the back door and there was a big, gentle dog lying on the seat. So I sat next to the dog and I petted it as he drove up the mountain. And he easily found my family because there were a lot of police and rangers and lots of people gathered around our campsite preparing to do a search for me. So I got out of the car, I walked to my parents, and when I look back, he and the car were gone. It didn't really strike me at the time, but later I really do believe that he was an angel. Angels who appear as humans usually disappear just as quickly as they arrive. You don't see them coming, you don't see them leaving, and without a trace. You might return to a restaurant where a kind waiter helped you settle your screaming toddler down a few days before, only to be told by the manager there's no such waiter working at the restaurant who fits that description. Or you might go thank a woman who just rescued your husband from drowning, but when you turn around, you see there's no sign of this stranger on the beach, not even a single footprint in the sand walking away. Angels who appear as humans often have very kind eyes and a peaceful, calming energy. They are remarkably helpful and usually don't say much, though what they do say can be very poignant. I want to share with you some real life stories of people who encountered angels in human form. The first one, they say, one day I was at work and I was really beating myself up. I just wasn't happy there. I was miserable and I kept telling myself, maybe God is punishing me. Maybe he doesn't love me. Maybe he forgot about me. Anyway, I walked down the main aisle of the store and all of a sudden I saw a teenage boy, 16 or 17 years old, wearing baggy clothes. He stopped in front of me and I don't recall him ever making eye contact with me, but he looked down towards the ground with his hand on his chin and said, "Ma'am." And I said, "Yes. How can I help you?" And he said, "God loves you very much." I said, "Oh, thank you. You too." I was in shock. I didn't know what else to say. I didn't fully grasp the meaning of his statement until I got home and thought about what I was saying to myself in my head and how this boy came from nowhere and said that to me. And I cried with wonder and joy. I used to work at a place where you paid to shop, so I would see the same customers every week, even multiple times a week. But I never saw this boy again. I don't remember if he even checked out before he left. I'm convinced he's an angel. The next story is when I was 17 years old, I was in the store and an older man walked past me. He looked at me with the most loving and compassionate expression I had ever seen in my life. There is no expression that will even come close. I just stared at him, then walked down another aisle. I was thinking about how beautiful the man was, even though he was an average looking man. He was so beautiful. He passed me again, just staring at me and looking as if he knew me so deeply. It was like he watched every little detail of my life and that he loved everything about me. I was so moved and I stared back. I tried to find him again, but he was gone. When I got home, I felt like I had just woken up from a dream, like time had stood still. The emotional impact of it all didn't really hit me until later that day. I was troubled because I didn't know what had just happened to me. I cried, realizing that something supernatural must have happened to me. He must have been an angel. The next story, again, not my own, this person says, my story is about when we were in Greece, having landed and picked up a rental car. Coming down the motorway, we turned off at the wrong junction and ended up completely lost. It was about 2 a.m. at that point, and we needed to get to a particular house in a tiny village. We had no maps. We prayed for help, and as soon as we said amen, a car pulled over the crest of the hill and stopped next to us. In perfect English, the guy inside said, "How can I help you?" We told him our predicament and where we wanted to go, and he knew exactly where the place was, directed us clearly, and we thanked him. And then he was gone, like in an boom, in an instant, nowhere to be seen. The next story, this person says, when I was a kid, my parents were in a ministry where they lived by faith, meaning all wages coming through individual donations. One day, funds were very tight, and mom was praying in her room and reading her Bible when she read a verse that said, "And the Lord will provide your wages." At that moment, there was a knock at the door. She answered it, and there stood a young lady. She said, "My friend asked me to give you this," and she handed the mom an envelope. Stunned, the mom said, "Thank you," and closed the door. She looked in the envelope, and it contained a good amount of cash. There was no more than 30 seconds between closing the door and opening again, but the girl was gone. And it would have taken more than 30 seconds just to reach the street, and the view was clear. There was nowhere for her to go, and there was no car. To this day, my mom is convinced that this was an angel sent by the Lord. The next story, in 1974, while stationed in Pearl Harbor, someone I had been drinking with spiked my wine with LSD. He did so with several others, too. We all went back to the base barracks, and some of the guys were going crazy. I prayed for help. A sailor opened his door and asked what was wrong. I told him. He asked me to get everyone and bring them to his room, which I did. He asked if we believed in God. We all shared our experiences about God, and that's when I noticed I was sober. It was way too soon for the LSD to wear off. It can be an 18-hour experience. It had only been a few hours since our drinks had been spiked, but we were fine. The next day, I went to the room to thank the guy, and when I went there, no one had been in that room for months. I was in communications, and there'd been no ship movements. No one but the guys who had their drinks spiked remembers the man. It has been a mystery for nearly 40 years. There can be only one explanation. That sailor was an angel because of how he spoke of God. I believe he was an angel. The next person says, at 18, I was in a car wreck. Out of nowhere, a lady in white clothes, like a nurse, appeared. She held a towel to my head, stopping my severe bleeding as the fire trucks were coming, and she said, "You will be fine now." I looked away, and she was gone. I asked the fireman, where was the lady? And he said, "What lady?" I pointed to where she had come from, and he said she could not have come from that area. That was a 500-foot cliff down to the Pacific Ocean. She had said to me, "I heard the accident, and I was at the beach and came to help you." All my friends saw her 30 years later. A blonde lady walked over to me and said, "You are going to be okay. Everything will be fine." She walked away. I turned around and I realized it's her again, my guardian angel. The next story says, I've been living a reckless life for quite some time. I have put myself in situations that most people would not have survived. As my life became more reckless and dangerous, my family told me something has to be watching you or protecting you. I had started to lose my faith until one night my mother came to my bedroom and told me, "Please change. Death is following you. I have never seen someone go through so much and live. Please change." After not praying for years, I laid in bed and prayed, "Lord, please send me a sign, anything. I need help because my luck is running out. For my sake and for my family's sake, help me, please." No sign came. That is until I started to doze off and I awoke in a state that I cannot explain. I could not move. I opened my eyes and above my bed was a light. It was the brightest, most beautiful light I had ever seen. It was pulsating and glowing white. It was so bright it lit my room up. Then it was gone. And I know it was an angel sent from God. And from that moment forward, I never intentionally put myself in danger again. I hope that you enjoyed this episode. Perhaps you realize now that maybe you have seen an angel. And if so, I know this realization will give you much peace and joy. Know that you can see angels many times in your life if you want to. Wanting to see them and raising your frequency are the keys. Tune in next Sunday. The topic is using essential oils for spirituality, and my guest is Joy Musacchio. She's the founder and master instructor at the famous Still Point Aromatics in Sedona, Arizona. You're going to enjoy that. I actually already recorded that interview, and I know it's really good. Please remember to like this podcast and subscribe, whether you are watching or listening, because it makes it so much easier for others to find it who may also find it helpful. And that's important to me. So, in the meantime, may your angels surround you. May your angels protect you every moment, every day of your life. I'll see you next week.